Hi class and Professor Lentz. When I read that in our syllabus that we had to read a book for our final assignment, I looked for a book that I didn't know anything about. Something that was completely foreign to me. Something that I had very little experience with, not a lot of knowledge to. And I didn't have an opinion one way or another. The book I chose is A Queer and Pleasant Danger. It was quite an interesting read at some point, hard to follow, jumps back and forth a lot. The author tends to tell a lie and admits telling a lie, and so it kind of leads you down a path to just say never mind, and you kind of have to backtrack to go, okay, that wasn't information that was true or false or whatever. So it was interesting, but hard to understand at times as well. I haven't wrote my paper yet. There's so many avenues that can be touched base on when I write my paper. For instance, authenticity to yourself. And that internal struggle of who you are, yet who people think you should be, or what you think people think you should be. And so that inner struggle of not being authentic and true to yourself. And that was something that was very profound to me, because I can't imagine having that struggle and going through that struggle for an entire lifetime and trying to be something you're not. Another avenue it kind of focuses on is alcoholism. In this book, the author was an alcoholic for a lot of years, drowning out pain and sorrow and feeling like they're not good enough, and multiple different feelings. Drug addiction was another one. Prescription and otherwise. Religion, specifically Scientology, which I knew a little bit about Scientology because I've been watching documentaries on it. And even in this book, I can't imagine following something that says, you should earn a lot of money, but not for yourself, but for somebody else. In one part of the book, Kate was earning $12 a month to support, at this time, his wife and their daughter. So I can't even understand how you get to a point in your life where you find that okay or feasible or reasonable. Another one is mental health. For instance, Kate suffers from borderline personality disorder and PTSD. And both of these are pretty significant. So to have both of these and go through life even before knowing what they were or how to cope with them is pretty intense from what I've read and from what I see. Also, self-mutilation. The author cuts herself, to make them feel better, and that's something that doesn't make sense to me. Sadomasochism, which doesn't make sense to me either, but it's a part of this person's life. All of these things are in one person. All of these things are something that somebody deals with on a daily basis, and perhaps even an hourly basis, which is just crazy to me. Not in a bad way, and even in talking about this book, it's not like I'm trying to make fun or make light of it. It's trying to wrap my own brain around it and understand it better. To make sense of it, it's like all of these are in one person, or one person but multiple borderline personalities, in a man that became a woman who is a lesbian now. So Like, that's a lot to take in, especially for a person that has no experience with this at all. So it kind of jumbles my brain a little bit. Our third question when we're posting this video, the book doesn't take on a racist focus. In fact, it doesn't really take on anything other than what this person has went through over the course of their lifetime and how they got to the decision they did to go through sexual reassignment surgery and go from being a man who they never felt comfortable being in the first place to going to being a woman. There were parts in the book that I actually laughed at because Kate, who has to live as, well, Al, which is his name when he was a man, has to live as a female for a year before he gets the sexual reassignment surgery. And he's putting away the clothes that he's newly purchased to live as a woman for a year. And he's asking other women, where do you put your underwear? Like, where do you put your bras? And it just kind of made me chuckle because he's trying to figure out what women do and how they do it and why they do it. So it kind of made me giggle in a way to see somebody in a foreign situation try to understand what he wants to become and how that happens. It was very interesting to me that he states in one part of the book he was, I don't want to say leader because that's not really an appropriate word, but I guess more of a founder of a support group for lesbians, but the other lesbians in the group didn't think she or he should be in the group because he was at this point transgender and was living as a woman for a year before the sexual reassignment. So it kind of makes me go, as to where you even have these people separating each other out because of what I think is completely insignificant, but I guess to some it's a major deal. So it's kind of crazy to me that some people are still want to be separate, yet still want to be... It's like the thought of separate but equal. So we have to be separate, but yet we want to be equal. It's almost to say, well, you're not in my group. It's kind of like cliques in high school is what it reminds me of. Like, well, you can't be in my group because you're not like me. And it's like, I think all of us, no matter what our sexual orientation is, what we identify with, who we identify as, I think we all have things that are like each other, and it may not be the same, but there's some things that we always feel the same way about, regardless of who we are, where we come from, or what we look like. So the book is quite interesting. I have 2 chapters left to finish. It's quite interesting. One night I read 6 chapters in a row. I couldn't put it down. It was just kind of funny in ways, sad in ways, hopeful in ways. One part of the book talks about his father, and his father was a Jewish man who relied on, culture and I don't even know how to explain it, but like, men are men. That's the way it is. You don't cry. You don't show emotion. You're tough. You're strong. All of those things. And his father and him never really saw eye to eye on that. And it was kind of interesting. And even when his father passed away, they never talked about their feelings toward each other or how Al always wanted to be a female. It's interesting to me that at a very young age, Al identified more as a female. When he went clothes shopping, he wanted to shop for girls' clothes. And that's what he felt comfortable wearing. So it's amazing to me that early on in his childhood he's seen these signs, but because he was a son of a Jewish father and his father was a doctor, he had to be this certain person. It's like you're already born into this status of what people think you should be. And then to meet that standard, like I couldn't even imagine. The book was very interesting, so I recommend it to anybody that kind of wants to read something that's foreign to them and have no information about, because it's interesting to see the life course of this person and where they are now, and sadly what it's taken to get them there. Have a great day.